This is the mock draft series where I go through every single draft slot. I just did the 1.1. Now I'm attacking the 1.12. What's the best approach? Is wide receiver with the bookend picks the best way to go? Or is running back? The 1.12 and the 1.11 are going to be the most risky for picking the wrong path. Because if you pick the wrong path, you will be not only super dry at one position, but it almost forces you to then abandon the best player available approach, which I almost always recommend you never abandon. But that 1.12 can mess with your mind if you don't make the right choice at 1.12 and 2.01. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. Smitty! Take a lap. Okay, we're going to grab that 12 spot and begin the draft. McCaffrey, Elliott, Barkley 3. They just like to mix things up sometimes. That's not realistic, but whatever. Barkley number 3, that'd be a steal. Thomas, Hopkins, Kamara, Cook, Tyreek Hill, Adams, Godwin, Joe Mixon on the clock. I've got Mike Evans, Nick Chubb. Juju is way too early. Jacobs I like a lot here. DJ Moore, Amari Cooper. Let's break it down by position. Evans, Juju, DJ Moore, Cooper, Beckham. AJ Brown's too early, but we're creating a movement because people are taking him. Let me pause this draft so I can rant. We're taking Brown so high in all of our mock drafts. I believe we're seriously moving the meter for this guy. I love Galladay later in the second round or even top of the third, but man, the wide receivers kind of flew off the board. I almost feel like we have to go wide receiver here, but we're gonna do this draft one way, and then I'm actually gonna reverse engineer and back the draft up and attack it a different way so you can see the exact same draft with all the controlled variables and see what approach works better. So let's go Mike Evans here, because we're going to try running back after resume the draft. Go over to the running backs and we'll say Jacobs here. Nick Chubb went. I love Nick Chubb and Jacobs about the same. DJ Moore keeps going in the second round. Let's review. Let me pause the draft here. So after Jacobs went Chubb, I could go either way. I think Nick Chubb's going to have a huge year. I feel like Jacobs is as well. I think they're kind of one and the same in terms of the ceiling value. Juju's way too high. Amari Cooper's way too high. I think those have something to do with last year's ADP data. DJ Moore, I went on a rant last time on my 1.1 draft selection video that you take DJ Moore as your second drafted player, you're leaving no room for upside. Odell, a little high. Kittle. AJ Brown, like, really? A fourth rounder 2 months ago? We pimp him over and over and over. Now he's a second round staple. Congrats to all of us who got him in the fourth round for months on end. Derrick Henry falling. This is dynasty. Galladay, Miles Sanders, I'm not taking Miles there. I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a dynasty draft as late as 2.12. I love that value. Probably my favorite value so far. I feel like this mock draft data is not super accurate. I think this pre-rank list, which the computer picks are controlled by, is just off a little bit. I think Austin Eckler is going to go in the top 12 to 18 overall. Why he falls to 3.3 in here, I don't know. Julio, Kelsey, Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, DK Metcalf, Sutton, Cooper Kupp, Mahomes, Calvin, Ridley, Lamar almost made it to us. Allen Robinson, now we're on the clock. Aaron Jones would be tough to pass up here, even though he's a big avoid for me in like the 8 to 20 range. We're talking about 3.12. We're talking about almost the fourth round. But Drake is still on the board here. A guy I think is worthy of top 14 overall value. And I almost don't want to take Drake here because I don't want you thinking you can go into your drafts and get Drake at 3.12 on the regular, but he does fall on occasion in drafts that I called magazine draft environments, where your league mates are literally doing a cram session right before your draft. They're not in the know of who is rising and falling in the industry. So I'm going to go Drake here, even though I don't know that you're going to see this very often. But I can't ignore him here. He's here. I'm doing a mock draft. He is here. Keenan Allen, Diggs, Lamb, Judy, Chark, I'm not really feeling it. Chark's pretty good, I guess, here. I think I'd go one wide receiver at this point and maybe consider like a Kyler Murray. This is Dynasty. I got to repeat that pretty much throughout the whole video, so if you're skipping, you know this is a Dynasty mock. I like Kyler Murray here. Assuming I can start 3 running backs, 1 at a flex, Aaron Jones would be an option here. Mark Andrews is the best tight end. Again, not feeling these wide receivers. I think the best value, I'm a best player available drafter, and Kyler Murray is the best available player in a dynasty format where a quarterback could last you 10 years of domination. That's different than in a redraft. Mahomes has, I think, in my opinion, mid-second to top second type value in dynasty, because it's a whole different ball game when Mahomes is going to deliver elite production for a decade. I'm going Kyler here, and we'll see how the wide receivers shake out. I'm pretty confident we're going to get a Hollywood Brown, someone like that. Like Aaron Jones finally went, Judy, JK, Chark, that would have been great, but he wouldn't have made it back. McLaurin would have made it back. Lamb wouldn't have made it back. Andrews, I hate seeing Andrews go. I'd even take, if Andrews fell for whatever reason to this next pick, I would have taken him over a wide receiver. Watson almost fell. Okay, we're on the board. Let me check the running backs real quick. Bell, Carson, Connor, Kareem Hunt's intriguing. Thielen's there if we want to go with a veteran wide receiver to win now, and we're certainly built for the future too. Devontae Parker's a great pick here, best available tight end. You have Waller, you have Ingram, Ertz, and Waller is typically ranked way outside the top 5, which is great for me, great for you if you believe. But Thielen, man, Thielen would be tough to pass on here just because of the now factor. Like, we toss him into this lineup, Evans, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Kyler Murray, Thielen, you know, that's win a league material. The trick in Dynasty is to find out, can we get a player that's equivalent to Thielen or close to it that gives us a lot more future appeal. Let's look at only rookies and isolate this out. We got Ruggs. Would Ruggs be a good pick here? I feel like Devontae Parker is a really good pick. He's only 27. He's going to give us at least 3 years, 4 years maybe. Last year, Parker, he brought it, man. He had 72 receptions, 1202, and 9 TDs. Kind of feeling Parker with one of these picks. Adam Thielen's only 29. He technically could have 2 years. Wide receivers typically drop off the face of the earth at 33, 34. Typically, you count on it being 33. So you don't want to plan for a wide receiver dominating through anything but maybe year 31, turning 32. So he has at least, I would say, 2 years left before we worry. That's kind of a long time. I kind of felt like he was older. I felt like Thielen was like 31, 32. Let's go Thielen. And then let's go. I'm really liking the team. Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, which I don't think we land every time. I mean, he falls to the 3.12 on occasion. I get DMs about it on Instagram. Hey, Smitty, you won't believe the league I'm drafting in. They have no clue.
I'm playing Smitty chess. They're playing checkers, baby.
Thielen, Ruggs, Evans are great wide receivers. This team would dominate. Okay, we're on the clock again. I know I'm taking some veterans in this dynasty draft, but that's ridiculous value. Mark Ingram helps solidify our backfield for the now. And the now is important in dynasty. People overlook the now. Let's go Mims. So we would be going bargain tight end shopping. That's going to do it for this mock draft, but let me pause this draft. Murray, Jacobs, Drake, Evans, Thielen, Ruggs, Mark Ingram, Denzel Mims. A ton of upside, a ton of dynasty future value, but we still got some veteran leadership in Thielen and Ingram, so I'm feeling really good about this roster. Let's try a different approach than going Evans and Jacobs. Let's maybe try wide receiver. And let's force Drake. I don't think they're going to let Drake get taken earlier than 3.12, so we're going to pause the draft and force Drake to be taken before our pick. I feel like Drake falling to 3.12 is not that realistic. Why is Ezekiel Elliott going at 1.7 and constantly being forced down by this app to be a 1.5 to 1.7 guy? Okay, again, we can't go wide receiver. I'm not going to force that because I want you guys to know that I wouldn't force it if I don't see it. Let's go Chubb. Let's go Evans again. And I'll try and draft a different approach using those two players as a common denominator and manually force Drake to be taken because I don't want that dilemma. I don't have Drake available. I don't like the running back options that are there. Metcalf feels like a great pick here. Kyler Murray, again, a good pick, but Watson and Wilson are falling so late. What if we went DK? The 1 point, I'm not going to lie, the 1.12 is a tough place to get good running backs or good wide receivers. You're either sacrificing one for the other. I mean, what if you went Lamb? This is Dynasty. I think this is where I'm going to prove that if we back things up and reverse engineer this draft, that going running back was the better way to go. That in Dynasty we would have felt more comfortable with DK and CD as our number 1 and number 2 wide receivers in Dynasty, and having a better running back like Eckler or Drake or Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 2.1. Let's remove Pat Mahomes from 3.7, and even though it's not realistic that Evans would go at 3.7, I want to get him off the board, so I'm going to put him there. Let's pretend we took Pat Mahomes right here. How does that team look? Are we feeling weak going Pat Mahomes too early at 2.1? Because if we go Pat Mahomes at 2.12 and maybe we remove Jacobs and let's put Chubb over in that pick and just put Jacobs at our 1.2, are we liking this team better? Mahomes, Jacobs, DK, CD Lamb in Dynasty? Or if we take Mahomes out, we'll swap out Mahomes and Eckler and see how we like a team built around Eckler and Jacobs. If you've got that 1.12 and you're not in a position to get like a Hopkins or a Devontae Adams with a Mike Evans, then your best bet is to go running back, because then you'll have a DK, you'll have a Chark you could maybe take here at 4.1. So if you don't like CD Lamb there and you're not a visionary type person where you can anticipate how good CD Lamb's going to be, because I think he will be that good, let's put Lamb over here and Chark right here and see how you feel about that. So Josh Jacobs, Eckler, DK Metcalf, Chark, and then see who we take. Watson, Wilson. Running backs are kind of, I think, iffy at this point. I'm kind of feeling like QB's the best option here. And let's say we went Russell Wilson. And now at wide receiver, see what other running backs we had. We can get Ingram later, we know that. Let's go Thielen. Let's use the same kind of common theme throughout so that we're kind of controlling as many variables as we can. That's a pretty good team. We'll have to compare all three. The first draft we did, the second draft we did, and then this draft. But Russell Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Eckler, Metcalf, Chark, Thielen, and then I'm guessing Hollywood's here. Hollywood Brown go? Hollywood Brown went. Waller went. That didn't fall like I wanted it. Mims is available. Keyshawn Vaughn is there. Go Ingram. We'd probably go tight end later. Which of the three teams do you like better? Comment below. I feel like all three are very competitive. I think all three have pros and cons, and I think we proved that you can screw up the order in which you're taking players based on how they fall. I'm going to venture to say now, before I've drafted through all of the positions, that the 1.12 and the 1.11 are going to be the most risky for picking the wrong path. Because if you pick the wrong path, you will be not only super dry at one position, but it almost forces you to then abandon the best player available approach, which I almost always recommend you never abandon. But that 1.12 can mess with your mind if you don't make the right choice at 1.12 and 2.01. If you screw up those first two bookend picks, it can send you on a direction that you can't really recover from. So if you're picking a draft slot and you have the option of avoiding a draft slot, I'd avoid the later end of the first round. And I'm going to say with confidence, before even going through every single draft slot, that the 1.1, the 1.2, and the 1.3 are by far my favorite draft slots to have in 2020. But you tell me, which of these three teams is best in your opinion? Comment below. Subscribe, follow, get some, and get on over to sleeperu.com and get your bold predictions on, because I've got my bold predictions almost locked and loaded for 2020 already. I think we've got 1 or 2 slots left out of the 12 bold predictions I drop every year, and then I drop a couple additional dynasty. It's loaded. SleeperU.com. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty,